So I guess what can only be called probably the worst launch for a AAA game in the history of gaming. Uh, and
Worst, yeah.
I think we're all on the same part where we just wanted to stop talking about Cyberpunk from a negative perspective. But unfortunately, this week, post CD Projekt Red coming out saying that they are going to honor refunds and then causing a lot of chaos for digital and physical retailers, especially with Sony having very tough policies on how to refund games, to the point where if you download the game, don't even open to play it, but even if you've downloaded it to your console, they will not give you a
Yeah.
refund generally, Sony. I think just because they were deluged with a whole host of people asking for a refund, Sony said, well, okay, you've positioned your statement to say that, look, we didn't think the game was fully ready on console and they want people to have, refunds. We'll just pull the game completely from our digital
I don't
storefront
think I've ever
and
done
offer
that for
refunds.
a game like that
Look,
that
for
I
a
can
AAA
remember.
game, the only example that I've heard of is what
Batman.
was it, Arkham Knight? I think
Right.
for
Yeah, that
Steam
was
was
super
Yeah.
buggy.
pulled. But I think that's a bit different though, because I guess not. But I don't think that's the predominant place people would be buying that game. I feel like the percentages of people buying it on consoles, that game in particular, would have been way, way, way higher.
Yeah,
Whereas this
potentially it was
game,
way the other way. Whereas it
yeah,
was 50-50, wasn't it? You said
I think it was about 40%, forty
on
sixty from
console or
memory. Yeah,
on PC?
consoles to
Okay,
PC. PC was,
significant
but
amount. Yeah.
but the critical thing
Well,
to say here
it's a
is
huge amount.
that they have removed it from the storefront, which means not just PS4 base players can't download it now. It
You can't on
means
PS5 either. Yeah.
PS5, PS4
Huh.
Pro. So, it also means that if you have got that game, or like, someone's going to buy it for you for Christmas or something, and you're looking forward to it, and you're a digital only kind of person, or you've got a PS5 digital,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you haven't already got the code to gift to someone, like you're out of luck. Like you're not going to be playing Cyberpunk 2077 for what I would imagine a while.
I would love
Because
to know. So I'd love to know. You said the percentage of console players. I'd love to know the percentage of the overall that bought it on the base consoles,
oh
not the
yeah,
PS4 Pro
Yeah,
or the
this is
Xbox One
that.
X,
they'll never
because
reveal
I
that.
don't know.
yeah, but like imagine that's still a significant percentage.
No,
Like
I
to
would. I
play,
still
we've
a lot of
we've
people I know have base consoles. Yeah.
yeah, we've seen how the game runs. Our Digital Foundry's done some awesome work to do a lot of comparisons there, and
Yeah.
obviously also people like just experience it firsthand. But that's such a huge percentage
Mm.
playing what is essentially like an unplayable game in many ways. Like
On the base
it's
consoles,
so
I would. Well, see, here's the interesting thing. So I have two friends. One of them, his son's playing on. I think it's either the pro or base console, but let's just bucket them as a base console. It's not a PS5.
But no, no,
And
but that's a big difference because
yeah, that's
everything
true.
I've heard is PS4 Pro and Xbox One X. Man, the Xbox naming is so it's always gonna throw me for
I
a loop.
know.
The PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X are playable. Like people will be like annoyed with it, rah rah
I'll
rah.
ask. I'll ask
Whereas,
him if he's
yeah,
got
the
the pro.
base is totally
Yeah,
different.
he
And we
said
haven't had
base,
experience. We have
but I
none of us have
suspect
played it on the base.
not. No, I haven't. So he said it's just a base console, but I suspect he probably just doesn't know what isn't, because it's
Maybe.
mostly his son that plays it, and his son's been playing it and he's been enjoying it. So I suspect he probably has a pro. But anyway, I can ask him. Send me a pic. That's probably
Yeah.
a pro. But I had another mate who was really into it on PS5, and I was actually surprised because it's not the kind of game he would normally play. He's not into those kind of games, and he got hooked. He said it was amazing, but he had to put it down, and he was really disappointed because it just kept crashing on him. And he ended up returning it, trying to get it on Xbox One X, so he could, sorry, on Series X, so he can continue playing it on Series X.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious how that's going to go, whether that crashes less, because they did. So Series X does have a performance mode as well as a quality mode. So
Yeah.
it feels like they almost put a little bit more effort, if you could call it, into that. But I still find it kind of, I guess, ironic and sad in a way that there's this console that's branded for it, and the game isn't great on that particular console that was, designed for it, so to speak. So, look, anyway, all that aside, so as a privileged PC player, who also has access to the other consoles, and I'm bloody privileged. Not everyone can do that.
Yeah, you have almost everything, even in the new generation.
That's what I
Mike,
waste all my money on. Yeah, rent
Mike,
and
you've
consoles.
taught me that I need to check my PC privilege.
You got to check your PC privilege. So as someone who's able to actually play this on PC at decent quality graphics and everything and get my 60 FPS, it's been a great experience.
Yeah.
So I really feel for people on console, especially for people that were really getting into it. And I don't feel so much for people, we're talking about it in the pre-show, that had all these crazy expectations and want all these features that some which weren't even ever announced, or tweaks or things that you can live without. Not being able to change the color of my car, honestly, couldn't care less.
Yeah.
You can still enjoy the game and everything it has to offer without a feature like that. Yet, if you jump on Reddit or something, you'll see people complaining about something like that. So if you keep your expectations to a more normal sort of level and you happen to have a PC, I think it's a great experience. Yes, there's bugs, but it's way more than playable. And it's almost a disrespectful thing to the devs that worked so hard on this. And you can tell they worked super hard. Like, the amount of detail in some of this stuff is insane. The character models, the detail in the vehicles, even like small little things like the GPS. I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell do you even code a GPS in a game? And it's funny though, because it's actually let down, since we're on the topic, by the fact that the mini map in the top right corner doesn't zoom out the faster you go. It always stays exactly the same as if you're walking.
Really?
So you miss every single turn. I'm always like, far out. Like, in the last split second, you can quickly do a handbrake turn or something. So anyway, I personally, I put 50 hours into it. I don't know if that's 50 hours because I'm trying to justify the cost of the investment in this game that I've made, subconsciously, or because more likely, I think genuinely, I am really, really enjoying this game. Like, to me, it's easy game of the year if the option was there. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, I've had some of the quests, which obviously I want to talk about, are fantastic. Really cool, quests around consciousness and what it is to be human, that typical kind of stuff, but Cyberpunk, with a good little twist. The way they twist it is really quite good. The gameplay's been fantastic. The weapon choices have been really good. I've been loving the hell out of it in the last 50 hours that I've played, and that's probably 2 main missions. That's it. The rest of the stuff was all side stuff, and the main missions are fantastic. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the story.
And we should also just mention that Microsoft have come out and said they're expanding their own refund policy on Cyberpunk 2077 for a limited time, where you can get a full refund on the game even if you've played through it. And look, 100% I'm not encouraging people to do this, and I hope people don't do this, but even CD Projekt Red have come out now saying that if you cannot get a refund, send us the receipt and we'll refund you out of our own money. Which I think is kind of wild. I think it's to the 21st of December, which to me is like,
what do you provide them, like a BSB and account number? How do they refund you out of their own pocket?
I mean, they've gone out and said that, and it's a company that cares a lot about its reputation, and
I actually think they do, which is weird, because why would the directors do this?
Money, man, money.
But money,
it's too much pressure because the new console's coming out and everything. They just,
but it's not even ready for the new console. It doesn't even make any sense. I just don't get how they stuff something like this up, especially a company like this that had huge pride in itself of being a company that would only ship stuff out if it's ready after.
Well, no, I don't think
issues
that's
they learned with The Witcher. No. They said
that.
They actually said that. They came out didn't they, Swinny, like back in 2013 or something? And they said this thing will be out when it's ready.
I don't know.
They did not stick to that. It's really weird.
Look, I think you always live by your actions, not what you say. And they've said a lot of things that they haven't lived up to, right? Like, they wouldn't crunch. They would, the game would work well. I mean, January, they said, this year, 2020, in January, they said you could play through the whole campaign. And it's shaping up really well. I mean, that's
which you totally can. Probably.
No, but they said that in January. And
I wouldn't be surprised if you probably could have played it back in January,
so they had this open QA during this week with their employees. And they had some crazy employees. You would do something like this. You're nuts like this. They had some of the devs go, you said this in January that the game was playable, but it wasn't playable. Why'd you say that?
Wow. Okay.
And then there was another dev asked, the game is about, corporate greed and corporate corruption and all
You
this
gotta
kind of
love the
stuff
irony.
aren't what you're doing as directors,
Exactly what it
the
is.
same
Yeah.
thing? And they didn't answer the question.
Well, how can they? Yeah,
No,
because
they
it's true.
can't. They can't. And look, like, I think the three of us, we don't want to shit on this game. Like,
I don't want. I'm not shitting on it. I think it's brilliant.
No, I'm
I
just
think-
saying it. I'm just saying it. That, like, I think, I feel really bad for the devs. It's completely a management
Absolutely.
stuff up.
Like, imagine being a dev and going to somewhere like Reddit, which, by the way, maybe my filter's wrong or something, but it feels like 95% of it is just negativity towards the game. It's just, here's this bug that
definitely.
I found. Oh, they shouldn't have
Definitely.
done this. Oh, the game should have this.
Yeah.
If I was a dev, that would suck. Like, you poured
Yeah.
80 years of your life into this game. Some of those people would have been there probably the entire time. And then you read all these comments about people, complaining because you can't change the color of your car or something, as opposed to going, holy moly, the models in this game are probably higher quality than in Forza. That's a game dedicated to driving. So I feel like I really feel for the devs.
It's just a money situation, right? Because if, they would have played the game, they would have known it's unplayable. It's crashing all the time. They even submitted an exemption with the platform holders, Sony and Microsoft, to say the game is crashing. It probably doesn't pass certification, but can you give us an exemption because we'll fix it on day one? And they didn't.
Right.
I mean, they didn't. And I think, look at the way the game reviewed on PC. They should have just released it on PC. This is not a new take. Everyone's saying this, but it's true. They should have released it on PC and said, look, it's just not ready for console. It needs more time in the oven. And we wanted
to be honest, even on PC, I think they should have probably spent another 6 months.
No, but that's the thing. I think, they would have known this back in March. This is why they kept delaying it. They should have said, look, it's not going to be ready for consoles. We need to make it for PC, release it, then spin their effort into... Because, think about it. They've got, like, basically teams targeting 9 different platforms.
Oh, it's nuts.
Like, it's so hard.
That's the thing,
right?
I think that's the thing that people don't understand as well. It's not only the complexities of the game itself and all the different systems that have to work together. And there's so many unknowns that you have to just do rigorous testing to figure it out. Because you don't know how one AI system is going to interact with another AI system, or one physics-based thing with another one, which is why you get all these weird bugs. So there's crazy amounts of testing you got to do. But on top of that, you now need to do it across 9 different platforms. Testing is actually... So one thing is, you've worked on project stuff before. I've worked as business analyst. I worked as a pseudo project manager. The amount of testing you got to do is one of the biggest components. Like, you'd be sitting down with a dev, and sometimes the dev could nail something out in a day, and then it'll take you like a week to do some of the testing because of all the different permutations you need to figure out. So it sucks, but they should have just left it a little bit longer. The last thing that I do want to say, though, for anyone that is playing the game, just in case you haven't heard about this yet, is there is one massive game-breaking bug that I've been reading about that quite a few people have spoken about, where if your save file, I think, exceeds 8 megabytes or something, and I think this is across all platforms, it basically becomes corrupted and you can't load it properly anymore. And it can happen if you craft too much, I think. It might happen if you collect too much stuff, which I have been doing. So I should check my save file because I collect everything. Like, literally, I press the button, any item that you can interact with, click, 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 click. So that's a huge game-breaking bug. This isn't, your car goes flying or something, you just load your save file. This is your save file's completely corrupt after like 50 hours of gameplay or something.
I remember having that issue in Oblivion, actually.
Exactly like that, yeah. So
I'd just give up. I'd give up on a game if that happened.
Oh, I'd give up, put it away, be super bitter about it, probably come back a couple of years later and water under the bridge because I really want to play it because it's such a good game. But anyway, so avoid that stuff. If you have it on PC, I actually do highly recommend it personally. But at the same time, if you can avoid it, I would wait another year until all the patches come out. Just like you're doing, Swinny.
Makes me think back to, like when we were talking about Cyberpunk, surely it was one of the times, we've been doing this podcast now for a while, so it's hard to remember the exact segment, but it was like, anyone super interested in playing this game and doesn't need to play on launch day, wait.
Yeah.
And that's exactly... Not
it's
that
made
it was
by Europeans, East Europeans, no less. So
that was the most, like, anyone could have thought that, but I'm just so glad I have waited. I do want to support these devs. I love the work that they do, but I'm not going to especially in a game that you're going to spend so much time in, and you could hit these problems that essentially wreck your game,
Exactly.
like you said. So
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing again. If you can almost take this as a microcosm of real life, to me, it's about experiencing the journey and knowing that it could end at any time. Am I getting a little too philosophical here? At any time, my save file could get corrupted, and I will put the game down and I will just enjoy it for what it was.
I thought you were going a different angle, that you're saying anytime
What?
Sweeney could die, so he hasn't played Cyberpunk 2077 at that point in time.
Well, exactly. You never know. You could get run over by a car, and then you would have never played the game. So yeah,
All right,
just wait, and they'll patch all that stuff out. And I think
Yeah.
it's a brilliant game, awesome basis to be an exceptional game.
I think that's well summarized, Mike. All right, well, let's move off Cyberpunk. Hopefully for a while we won't be talking about it
Till
in a
next
positive
week when
way.
something else comes up. Yeah.
I hope not. I really hope not.